Okay, welcome everybody to Freetrail's coverage of the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships, broadcasting live from the foothills of the Pyrenees on a beautiful autumn day. This begins a week of coverage around one of the most exciting events of the trail racing season. We're going to talk all about it here today and throughout the week. Joining me throughout the week, the man who has represented Team USA and has a gold medal to prove it, Mr. Adam Mary in studio. Big round of applause.
Hello, Freetrail Nation. Live from Freetrail Fortress, dude. Yeah. This place is crazy.
Freetrail Fortress, man. Cobblestone streets. We basically have our own little private village. We're not going to disclose our location because it's so exclusive, but dude, I'm stoked you're here with us. It's going to be fun.
Thanks for having me out. Yeah. It's pretty cool. We both got out this morning. There's like a trail running, signage in this village. Yeah. It seems like really steeped in trail running history, this area.
Trail running's taken over the world and saving the world simultaneously.
It's true.
Adam and I were at Drew Holman and Sasha Tennedy's wedding outside of Bend, Oregon this past weekend.
Yes.
Then we jumped on a plane with Seth Ruling, Patty O'Leary, the two of us,
party train,
some others. We all arrived last night. We got Tom Buchanan on the ones and twos behind the scenes. Also Ryan Thrower just off screen. Gracie Hins, who's going to be clipping bangers for us. It's going to be a great team effort here at the World Championships. As we do every week when we start our coverage, we start with the top 10 storylines of the race week. So that's what we're going to do here in today's show, the top 10 storylines of the 2025 World Champs. Tomorrow, we're going to be back in studio, I think, after the opening ceremony. So we'll talk a little bit about what's happening there, and then we'll preview the uphill race, which is starting on Thursday. That kicks off 4 straight days of racing. So then we'll basically just going to be doing recap shows and preview shows throughout the week. So there's 4 distances: the vertical, the short trail, the long trail, and then the classic, in that order. And we're going to fill everybody in as to what exactly that means to set all the context so you understand what's happening here in the Pyrenees throughout the World Championships. Before we get to it, reminder, go play fantasy.freetrail.com. We're picking 10 deep in all 4 races. So obviously these races are stacked to the gills. We're going to talk all about some of the characters that are here, but the who's who of trail running is here in the Confranc area, and you're going to want to go put your fantasy team together for some hot prizes from your friends here.
And don't forget to pick the country that's going to win for a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Bonus $500.
Yeah, so that's new. So shout out to Travis, the king of trail technology, Freetrail's advanced analytics department. New for the World Championships. You're not only picking 10 deep, but you're also going to predict the winning team for men and women to get bonus points. That'll be a bit of a tiebreaker, something we're experimenting with and something that's new.
Super cool feature.
We're going to get into some of the analytics in today's show, but while you're at fantasy.freetrail.com, navigate to the stats tab and then click analytics, and you're going to get to see a lot of the cool stats that Travis has put together relevant to all the races here this weekend. We're going to get into some of that here during our show. Before we launch into it, one thing we're really psyched about: we're working with ACG, All Conditions Gear here this week. A big shout out to ACG as they make a big push here into trail running. We've been observing as fans of the sport here for a while. Caleb Olson's crazy looking t-shirt at the Western States 100.
Yep, he's kitted out.
Ultrafly 2 looks pretty fast. Obviously the Wild Horse, the Zagama, the Kiger, along
the
Legacy from All Conditions Gear.
Everything.
Pretty cool. ACG leveraging that innovation engine from Nike to make some great trail product, and we are grateful for their support throughout race week. Check them out at allconditionsgear.com. Launching into it, the top 10 storylines of the 2025 World Champs. Number 10, the growing significance of the World Championships overall. Something you and I have been talking about the last couple of days, Adam. Yes. As we said, you had an opportunity to race for the red, white, and blue in 2022.
So amazing.
Talk about that experience, and in general, is sort of like how the World Champs has grown in relevance and stature on the calendar.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Caleb was in here earlier, and he was mentioning he didn't think he would have that opportunity. I was in the same boat. It was such a surprise when I made the team and got to go to Thailand, to Chiang Mai, somewhere I would probably have never gone. And it's something super cool about the World Trail Running Championships. They pick these really I don't know, like off the beaten path locations. Like here we are in Canfranc, like in the Pyrenees. I'm sure a lot of the racers like won't have been here or won't maybe come back. So it's just a really special experience. And maybe this is a hot take. I don't know. Like I've known about the World Championships for a while, but like I feel like it really came on the map in 2022 in Thailand coming out of the pandemic. I think everybody was kind of hungry for something like that, like seeing the whole world kind of come together and race. Mike McMonagle came out and shot some cool photos. Coverage was good. And then it really popped up for Austria. So, yeah.
No, I 100% agree. And I actually have some fun information. But basically what happened, so for much of my career, I think I turned down 2 or 3 different opportunities to race at the World Champs for Team USA because like, yeah, the races were important and great athletes came and competed, but it didn't have the same, I don't know, like cultural cachet that like a Western States or a UTMB or a Hard Rock had. They had it separated in those days where the mountain world championships, which encompassed the vertical and the classic.
Yes.
So the vertical and the up down were separate both in timing and in venue compared to the short trail and the long trail.
Yes.
In 2022 in Thailand, it's when they mashed everything together. So all of a sudden it becomes almost like another UTMB where you have 4 world-class races competed over 4 days with all the best athletes in the world.
There's more people there. Yeah.
And now with, you know, like the added storyline of both individual glory and racing for national pride too. Something we're going to talk about more in a little bit. It really was in 2022 when the World Championships, you know, took a big step forward. And then in 2023, as you said, in Austria. And then, you know, now it's back to the 2-year separation between World Championships. So it's been a little over 2 years since Austria. And here we are back for more 4 huge races happening over the next few days. I pulled something from the Mile and Stone newsletter that I think drives this point home. It's a quote from a guy named Alessio Punzi, who's the head of running at World Athletics. What he said was, it was to resolve this fragmentation that World Athletics launched a partnership with the WMRA, the IAU, and ITRA in 2018 with the goal of creating a single unified event bringing together mountain running and trail running. We felt this sport had reached a tipping point with broader public appeal that the destinations with tourism budgets wanted to be involved. By uniting all the governing bodies, we aim to attract more teams, fans, and host territories. And it seems like that was very much accomplished there in 2022 there and going forward. And then one thing that I thought would be fun to talk about here too is like, as this event has increased in stature and importance, it has also attracted better athletes. People are trying to really qualify for it. 100%. And also teams are being supported a lot more now. And so just for Team USA, this is the only thing I was able to find information on. A quote from Paul Kirsch, who's the team manager for Team USA. He said, 15 years ago, the World Championships were fragmented and lacked prestige. Since Thailand, media coverage has exploded. It's become the place athletes want to be. And also now Team USA has 48 athletes in total between the short distance and the long distance, plus 6 staff members on a 90,000 euro budget. So everything is funded now for Team USA. I think it probably was in 2022.
It was,
to some degree. But even in the past, you know, people were paying their own, you know, accommodations and travel to get over here. So things have definitely changed.
It has changed, and it's huge just to increase like inclusion. Like, right, a lot of people, especially athletes that are trying to like make it, can't afford a ticket to the Pyrenees, you know, so it's cool to see that happening.
Yeah. One thing that it would be fun to just chat about, and I think maybe it's recency bias or just the lens that Freetrail sees the sport through. But to me, like outside of Western States and UTMB, this feels like, you know, sort of like the most important event of the year.
Dude, the best are here. Yeah. A lot of athletes like prioritized this on their calendar, like Caleb, you know, like early in the year, he was like, I want to like show up at Worlds. Didn't race at UTMB. You know, like it's definitely important.
Yeah. And it's so cool too, like how these multi-day events are now becoming more and more the norm. Obviously that has been the case at UTMB forever, where you've got OCC, CCC, UTMB, plus, you know, the TDS and ETC peripheral events. Broken Arrows sort of pioneered that in the US along with like the Rut. Now Mammoth Trail Fest is actually just finishing up and the Mammoth 200 is about to start.
Yes.
So more examples of race together directors putting together these multi-day experiences for trail runners and trail fans. And we're going to get to experience that again here this week.
You're a race director. I'm not, but it feels like it just makes sense. Like you put in all this effort to like get the event ready and to be able to just like leave all this stuff set up and like people can enjoy it for multiple days. It seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, the other reason it's great to put the two events together, about the short distance and the long distance, is it's much better for the media too. You know, like we got to talk our own book here from Freetrail's perspective. There's no way we would travel to one event for a VK and a classic race and then another event for a short trail and a long trail. So not only is it better for the fans, the governing bodies, the host venues, the teams, it's also much better for the media. So
well, to Paul's comment about like the media explosion, like when you concentrate all those athletes in one place that are all like uploading to their story and stuff at the same time, probably a much bigger impact.
Oh, huge. All right. So that was our number 10 storyline, just to kick things off. The growing significance of the World Championship in general. Like I said, outside of Western States and UTMB, this feels like, you know, one of, if not the most important events of the 2025 season. And we are psyched to be here. Moving on. Number 9, individual versus team dynamics. This is something that's going to be a theme throughout the week. Adam, you got to experience this yourself, you know, at all the races that we've done mostly in our career. Racing as a professional, you're racing for yourself and for like the brands that sponsor you. It's only really here at the World Championships that you are also competing for your country and alongside your teammates. Talk a little bit about that.
Dude, it's so special. Like I knew most of my teammates just through having raced them before, but like to get to know them when you're on the same team, it just brings this feeling of camaraderie leading up to the race that you definitely don't have in any other context. Like you're all trying to score and win for the USA, almost like just as much or more than yourself, you know? And it just, I don't know, it's this really cool, like unifying feeling. Like I still talk to all those guys. And like, I remember Drew Holman, when he raced in Austria, he was like, dude, I heard you telling me the story of how great it was and how like, how much camaraderie you felt, but he really felt it too. I think it's super special.
So Tom's got a photo he's going to pull up here. This is the men's long trail team from 2022 in Chiang Mai. The boys brought home some hardware, not only individually, Adam Peterman winning an individual gold medal. You guys brought home a gold.
I know. That was such a special year too. And just to give a little more like insight into the team dynamics part, like, I don't know, like Jeff Colt and Eric LaPuma like raced pretty much that whole race, like all together, helping each other, like try to score and place as high as possible. When I finished, like I went back to the hotel, super dehydrated and hot, threw up all over the lobby, and the guys were right there picking me up. You know, just like this like really unifying experience, riding around tuk-tuks together, you know, eating cow soy. It doesn't get any better.
And that's where you guys pioneered the viral vernacular of being in the box.
That's right. In the box. Team Visor.
So actually maybe impromptu, just like keeping that theme throughout the week, we can award like a best box occupier of 2025. Okay.
I like it.
Maybe define being in the box for our viewers who are unfamiliar.
Coined by Adam Peterman, got to give respect. It's when you're just like so in the pain cave and locked in, you're in the box, like working hard, stuck into some serious pain, trying to get a result.
Just in the box.
In the box.
Tell you what, Team Freetrail is going to be in the box later this week.
That's right.
So anyway, all the athletes are definitely going to spend a little bit of time in their individual boxes, but definitely just a fun, feeling of, not only competing for yourself, but also for the team.
One cool thing too, like when Adam ran, he beat, like second place was almost an hour behind him in Thailand. And so similar, like Seth, we rode out here together and I was like, dude, like if you go for the win, like, and you score like way in front of second place, like that can really help out the team, So, it is an interesting like dynamic.
Yeah. I was actually just going to get to that. So the way that the team, medals are scored. So it's different between the short events and the long events. So for short trail and long trail, So the mid distance and the long distance races, it's scored based on cumulative time. So as you said, because Adam had such large separation, he was able to really pull the rest of the team onto that, that the team gold medal. Whereas in the uphill and the classic races, the two shorter distance event, it uses like cross country scoring.
Yes.
So instead of cumulative time, it's like the cumulative placings, right? So if you have athletes who finish first, fourth, and eighth, your cumulative points are 13.
Yes.
Right. So just for the audience, that's how it's determined here this week. So 2 different scoring mechanisms for the 4 races. A couple more things I wanted to get to before we move off of this. Number one, as we talk about teams, one thing that I think is fun and interesting that I talked to Travis about last week is Uganda. Like, they have historically been great here, especially in the vertical and the classic races, the short events. And then you never see any of the Ugandan names like in any other trail events.
Yes.
So a fun sort of thing as we start to see Kenyan athletes coming into the sport a little bit more. I think Kenya led the medal count at last year's World Championships, and I think Uganda the year before that.
Yes.
But it's interesting, right? Like Uganda is always like fielding this great team that brings home multiple medals, but then they kind of disappear throughout the rest of the year. So an interesting thing for the audience.
Africa's out here, dude.
Yeah. Africa's out here.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that throughout the week. Then the other thing I just wanted to mention as it relates to teams, China doesn't field a team here. And from what I heard, the reason is because of that tragic event that happened a couple of years ago where several people died due to, unforeseen terrible weather that blew in a high altitude mountain race. And I think it therefore it exists like outside of government sporting regulation. And so they don't field a team. Wow. I think it's a loss for the sport because obviously one of the stories of the season and for the last couple of years has been the rise of China and Asia more generally as a powerhouse geography and the professional trail running world. So while Uganda is here and really here only, we also don't have China.
What a bummer for those athletes too. Yeah. Hopefully that'll change in the future.
Yeah, hopefully in the future. So moving on, our number 8 storyline here, past champions who are back. Okay. So this is a good one from my count, and I'm probably missing 1 or 2. There are 11 past champions between the 4 races that are happening this week. So the past champions who are back from my count, Jim Walmsley, Joe Gray, Clementine Jeffrey, Grayson Murphy, Benjamin Rubiel, Stian Angermund, Marion Delespierre, Francesco Poopy, Patrick Kipeno, and Ali McLaughlin. Those are our 11 past champions who are back here.
And if that doesn't speak to the prestige of the event, I don't know what does, People like Jim wanting to come back, Yeah.
I want to spend a minute on Joe Gray because I'm sure it'll be easy to just gloss over his great career with all the racing that's going to be happening here this week.
But dude, he's made every team since 2008, earned his spot. No resumes.
Exactly.
It's like that's unprecedented.
For 17 straight years. Crazy.
And he almost won the qualifying race this year, almost beat Christian Allen.
I know. 41 years old, father of 2, has made every single team for 17 years, no resume spots.
Shout out Joe, man.
Joe Gray. What a legend. He was 6th in the vertical at Thailand, 5th in the vertical in Austria. He's only racing the vertical this week. Certainly somebody that we're going to be rooting for. And we should remind our audience, a 2-time world champ in 2016 and 2019. So Joe Gray, one of our past champions, 2 gold medals to his name. And we'll see if he can add another one to that great collection. Clementine Jeffrey, she's defending in the short course event. So spending just a couple minutes on her because we're going to really tag through a bunch of these other athletes later on in today's show. She was not at UTMB. So this is part of the French not allowing their athletes who are going to be competing at the World Championships to do any racing in the 45 or 60 days leading up to it. So Clementine Jeffrey not doing OCC this year.
Will be fresh. Should be fresh.
To defend that short trail World Championship. Both the Long Trail World Champions from 2023 are back, Benjamin Rubiel and Marion Delespierre.
Yes.
Both French, both in the same situation as Clementine Jeffrey, and both looking to defend. And then Allie McLaughlin, like this was the last name that occurred to me as I was thinking about who's here, who's got a past gold medal. She won the vertical in Thailand, where you were.
She's such a dynamic athlete. She's
sort of a quiet season, but
base jumping a ton.
Yeah.
You know, she's always like I don't know. She could do something crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count her out.
I know. Yeah. So she earned her spot. She's only racing the Classic this week. So she earned her spot at the Team USA qualifier at the Sunapee Scramble. But it'd be amazing to see her, like, especially because it does feel like sort of a quiet year. Maybe she's just been focused on getting back here and getting another medal. So
yes.
This is, I think, her third time representing Team USA at the World Champs. So,
dude, so many other names in that list, but are we going to get to them later?
Yeah, we're going to get to all those other names later. That's
cool.
why I want to just tag a few of them here.
Cool.
In the number 8 storyline. Speaking of somebody that we're going to tag, let's move on to our number 7 storyline. Grayson Murphy stepping up in distance. She's going to be competing for Team USA at the short trail. One of our top storylines of Broken Arrow was Grayson Murphy getting 50K. Curious.
Dude.
Thoughts on probably USA's most decorated, competitor at events like this?
You love to see it, like Broken Arrow and Speed Goat had great days at both of those races this year. Super hard 50Ks. So just diving right in. And past teammate. We both I used to run for Saucony. Grayson still does. Shout out. She's honestly one of the nicest people, like outside of social media and stuff too. Just like really, really thoughtful, kind person. And it's so cool to see her like performing at this level, coming off of that adversity she's experienced, So like, I'm really rooting for her.
Yeah. So Grayson won gold in 2019 in Argentina. And then in 2022, I believe she was injured coming out of COVID.
Yes.
But then she was back in 2023 and she medaled in both events. She was third in the vertical and then a gold first place victory in the Classic. And she won by like 90 seconds or something in the Classic, like won fairly comfortably. So 3 medals to her name, 2 golds and a bronze. I think Team USA's most decorated athlete ever.
Yeah.
At a World Championship competition, now stepping up to a new distance. If she could have golds in, 2 classic golds plus a short trail gold would be pretty fire to add to the bronze and the vertical.
Yeah, she definitely could. And with Broken Arrow and Speed Goat as like primers, didn't she improve her placing?
Yeah, she was 5th at Broken Arrow and then 3rd at Speed Goat. Ran very strong, fast times in both. Times that would win the race most years.
Yes.
But Broken Arrow was, of course, the qualifier for the short trail team.
Yes.
And then Speed Goat was, the Jen Lichter show this year. So
I like Grayson's odds.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. Shout out to Grayson Murphy. It's going to be great to see her competing again at a new distance here this weekend. Moving on, our number 6 storyline. Patrick Kipeno goes for the uphill three-peat. We were just talking about the Kenyans. Get us started on Patrick.
I mean, he's just a machine. I think we might have saw him going through the passport line, to be honest.
We did.
Yeah, coming through the airport. So yeah, he and the rest of the Kenyans just like, it's so exciting every time we see them race,
Yeah.
They're just on another level.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah. As soon as we got in the line to go through customs at the Barcelona airport, all of a sudden I started seeing these Kenyan team kits. And then I was like, oh, there's Patrick. And he was there with Joyce. I resisted the temptation to turn around and take a selfie with him. I got to give a high five to both. But
I know a lot of athletes are going to be looking to trade for those jerseys.
Dude, Patrick is just such a stud, right? Like
such a stud.
Again, coming back to this story that we've seen in recent years of Kenyans really pursuing the sport at the highest level. Patrick has really been at the forefront and I'm sure has been an inspiration to a lot of his fellow countrymen and women who are coming into trail running and making a go of it professionally.
A household name at this point.
Yeah. I mean, he's been like the most consistent, high performing athlete in the sport for the last couple of years. In fact, I pulled some stats on this. So since 2022, Patrick Kipeno has raced 25 times. 23 podiums.
That is crazy.
The 2 races he didn't podium, one was a DNF at Pitts Alpine this year.
Okay.
The year it was really bad weather there.
Yep.
And then the other was a 9th place at Mammoth Trail Fest when he and Philemon got off course.
I remember that, dude. I remember watching that live stream.
Yeah.
They were on one.
So literally a 99% podium finishing rate for Patrick Kipeno in his career.
You know, for the fantasy free trailers out there, you know, put him in your top picks, you know.
So I also looked at, so again, he's the back-to-back champion in the uphill race. So in 2022 and 2023, he won by 90 seconds in both races. Huge margins for these like 40-minute races.
Yeah.
So Patrick Kipeno, certainly the man to beat in the vertical, and he is only racing the uphill. Last in 2023 in Austria, he did both vertical and classic. So this year it seems like just focusing, and Philemon doing the opposite. So just doing the classic and not the vertical.
Interesting.
One other thing I just wanted to add here. So yeah, he was 2nd place at Sierras and all behind Philemon.
Yes.
So that was his most recent race result. So the 2 of them both looking in great form, finishing 1st and 2nd there, coming into the world champs. Then the last thing I wanted to just say was last year when Patrick came and raced at Broken Arrow for the first time, he did the vertical and 23K double.
Yeah.
And we'll remember that he won the vertical in front of Jim Walmsley, who finished 2nd.
Beat him by a pretty healthy margin.
He beat Jim by a healthy margin. And then in the post-race like press conference, Jim asked me to take a picture of him and Patrick.
Class, dude.
So I just loved it because it's sort of like, you know, if Jim wants a selfie with you, that means you're a dog, right?
That's awesome.
That means you're a really good athlete.
100%.
Yeah, it was so funny because I remember then in the interview with Patrick afterwards, I made some comment that made me cringe of like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. Like you racing Jim Walmsley here in the US, you know, he's like a hero to American trail runners or whatever. Like, were you thinking about that on the start line? He's like, well, yeah, but like also I'm the double world champion. So like, it's like, yes, you are. And all respect to you. And I'm sorry for asking such a stupid question, but Patrick Kipeno going for the 3-peat, our number 6 storyline. Moving into the top 5, but before we do, again, a big thank you to All Conditions Gear for supporting Freetrail's coverage of the 2025 World Mountain and Trail Running Championships, leveraging Nike's world-class research, development, innovation engine, now bringing it to trail. Super duper exciting. We were just talking to Caleb Olson about his Radical Airflow shirt.
Yes.
The viral, you know, piece of apparel from the Western States 100. Of course, that Ultrafly 2, Wild Horse, Zagama, Kiger. They're building out a great portfolio of products. It's great to see ACG in the game.
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, we also just did, in addition to an interview with Caleb, we also went through his entire kit, you know, all that stuff developed by All Conditions Gear. So after you watch today's top 10 storylines, go check that out also, and then click through to allconditionsgear.com to see what they're building over there at ACG. It's super duper exciting, and we are grateful to be working with them here throughout race week.
Yeah, I know you said you're going to link to it, but go check out the Radical Airflow like webpage. Yeah. Really interesting deep dives on how it works and how it funnels the air toward your skin. It's like super cool. Yeah,
we'll link to it in the description, and we just got to lay our hands on it for the first time, you and I, with Caleb.
No joke. You can feel it,
is
just
crazy.
On your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. So, yeah, you made the comment of like, yeah, it's crazy in 2025. We're still innovating T-shirts, but
it's true.
Leave it to ACG to push us into the future. So a big thank you again, allconditionsgear.com. Moving into the top 5. Speaking of 3-peats, Stian Angermund going for the 3-peat in short trail. Get us started on Stian.
Yeah, I mean, again, just another world-class athlete, putting the world championship as like a bookmark on his calendar, you know, an exclamation point. Like he has been pretty dominant for his whole career. And so I know there will be a lot of people rooting for him in this race. Yeah.
So to the audience, Stian Angermund, Norwegian athlete, back-to-back wins at the short trail, back for another one here. And, you know, just to set a little context here, for basically the last decade, Stian has been one of, if not the best, shorter course athlete in the sport.
Didn't he win OCC too?
He won OCC twice, and then it was after OCC in 2023 where he received a sanction because he was found to have a banned substance in his system. We're not going to go into all the details there. If you want to, you can go back and listen to a podcast that I did with Stian where we told the whole story. Pretty convoluted and complicated situation. He was given a 2-year suspension. He served 18 months of that. There was a third-party official who was brought into the process, came to the conclusion that even though the substance was in his system, he didn't exonerate Stian, but came to the conclusion that it was unlikely that he used it for intentional performance enhancing for that purpose. In other words, with a purpose to intentionally rob his competitors of, and sort of very seriously damage the integrity of the sport.
Yes.
His suspension was shortened then to basically time served. At that point, he had not been racing for 18 months. He returned to competition this year at Zagama in May, where he finished 9th.
Knocking the rust off.
He got second at Girdamont, and then it looks like a rough day, I think a 26th at Sears-Nall, but he's back in competition now in 2025. And I think this has been in his crosshairs ever since that, heartbreaking affair at OCC 2023.
Yeah. Regardless of what you think about the sanction and all of that, it's so cool to see an athlete persevere through that much adversity. He has a daughter, two kids. Yeah. A fellow dad, just staying committed during the sanction, then getting back out there and racing and now getting to represent Norway. It's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And during the time that he was away from the sport, because in Norway, they have very strict rules. You can't coach, you can't really go to the gym. Yep. You really have to be excommunicated from the sport altogether. I know something that really hurts Stian emotionally.
Can't imagine.
Having been a lifelong athlete. He also now is helping to coach the youth Skyrunners of Norway.
Is he really?
I saw him post recently that he was going to support the Norwegian youth skyrunning team.
That is awesome.
Youth championships or something too. So sort of nurturing the next generation too. So it'll be very interesting to see if Stian is still at that level that we've always known him to be at.
I mean, I think he will be.
Yeah. I mean, 9th at Zagama, your first race back.
Yeah.
That's a real result.
Yes.
And then second at Girdamont behind Davide Magnini, who's also racing this week. I'm sure we'll talk about him at some point.
Goated.
Yeah. Goated. Second at Girdamont, that indicates he's probably in good form, even though the rough result at Sears-Nall, maybe a blip on the radar, but great to see Stian back and excited to see him competing again for that three-peat.
No doubt. That'll
be on Friday.
Yes.
Yep. Moving on, our number 4 storyline. This one's maybe going to take us a few minutes here. The doublers from UTMB. So one of our storylines at UTMB every year is the doublers from Western States to UTMB or from Hard Rock to UTMB. Now we're talking about it from UTMB to the World Championships. There are tons of names to get through here. And the biggest thing that jumped out to me.
You've been digging through the list, man.
So I've sort of bracketed this in a few categories. And the first one that we have to get to, because it's just crazy. The entire men's top 10 from OCC, Ryan, the entire men's top 10 from OCC is racing at Worlds this week. Every single one of them is doubling back.
It's what is that?
So just to go in order,
Yeah.
We'll remember at OCC, Jim Walmsley and Christian Minoguio had this amazing battle. Jim ultimately won by 20 seconds. Both of them we've got a rematch in the long trail. Andre Witek, who is third, also doing long trail. Petter Engdahl, who is fourth, doing long trail. Christian Jones, who is fifth, doing short trail for Team GB. Adam Peterman, who is sixth, doing long trail. Luca Del Pero, Italian, short trail. Antonio Martinez, short trail. David Norris, American, is doing the classic, OCC to classic. And in 10th place, the Canadian, Sam Hendry, doing OCC to short trail. The entire men's top 10.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's crazy. It kind of makes sense, OCC to something at Worlds double. But it's also cool that they're spread across almost all the distances.
Yeah, right. Like the majority of them are doing OCC to long trail.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got 4 doing. Yeah. So we have 5 doing long trail, 4 doing short trail, 1 doing classic.
Yeah. That is a tough double.
Yeah.
Like 5-hour red line effort and then, I don't know, 10-hour race,
10,
something like that. Yeah, no joke.
Yeah. Well, there's some people who are doing the opposite, but we'll get to that in a second. But super interesting. And one thing I just wanted to say, I don't have the OCC results in front of me, but like one of the things that we were talking about after UTMB is like Peterman, right? He finished 6th at OCC. He was like 5.5 minutes behind Jim.
Right there.
Like those guys were all super clustered.
Yes.
Of course, Peterman also a previous gold medalist, a Western States champion, but it's like a 6th place at OCC for you and I, it's like easy to remember, but for most people, it's like, you know, you kind of forget who finished 6th place at OCC.
We never forget, Adam.
We never forget. My point is that like you could see any number of these guys winning or medaling
for sure
in the races that they're doing. You know? Even finishing 10th place at OCC, you know, you're definitely in the medal conversation.
So true.
Here at the World Champs.
Yeah, no doubt.
So super, super fun storyline here. All 10 of the men.
Yeah.
The women's side of OCC, we've got 3 out of the top 4. So Judith Wider, Maud Mathis, Sarah Alonso are all going to be some of the favorites going into short trail. And then Jasmine Lothar, who is 9th doing long trail here this weekend for the Canadians. So that was, I think, 4 out of the top 10 from OCC. And then those who are doing the opposite, who race longer at UTMB and then are going short. Let's start with Martina Milnarczyk. So CCC champ.
Yep.
Moved from the long trail team to the classic race this weekend.
Yeah. Do you know the backstory as to why? Or?
Yeah. I had heard that it's just sort of like she didn't bounce back as quickly as she wanted to. But
totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had a banger day.
I only met her for the first time after her win at CCC at UTMB. She came in for a post-race interview. I'm convinced she is like a superstar in the making, Polish athlete. So sort of going to be the star of Team Poland here. Although Andrzej Witek also is going to be, I mean, the Polish, you know, as a country, they're really coming up in the sport. But
100%.
Martina Milnarczyk, CCC to the classic event here is going to be a fun and interesting story. CCC champ.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to see her race something that short. Yeah. Showcase the range.
Yeah. It's funny, you know, like if you think of people who have that type of range, it's like really only Katie Shide on the women's side. Like I guess maybe Ruth.
Yeah.
Certainly at one point in her career. I don't know if, you know, Ruth would be jumping in a classic world championship race at this point, but
yeah,
you know, it does take a special and different kind of athlete to win CCC and be in medal contention in the classic race of the world championships.
Totally. Katie Shide comes to mind. Yeah.
And then second place at CCC was Sylvia Nordskar. She's doing long trail. So again, we're talking about the doublers here. So CCC to long trail for Sylvia Nordskar, another Norwegian. And then the USA boys, David Sinclair and Eli Hemming. David 2nd, Eli 7th at CCC. Both are on the short trail team. Both obviously studs.
Although David getting hung up in travel right now, dude.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they missed his flight. Like he and Tom Hooper, I don't even know if they're here yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so hopefully David gets out here.
Oh, we've got a pre-race interview scheduled with him. We'll have to get in touch, make sure he's all good. But Sinclair and Hemming, I think that's going to be an interesting one, right? Like doing a hard mountain 100K and then trying to recover and then switch gears to like a full gas 4-hour race.
Yeah, but both those guys are truly world class. And I remember Eli was like wrestling with whether or not he wanted to like take that spot. It's like, dude, take the spot. Like you earned it. Both of them are that good, and they are a great addition to that team. It's a really strong team.
Yeah, I think it was you and I who were talking about Eli at CCC.
Yeah.
And it's like for him, it's disappointing to finish 7th at CCC.
Yeah.
And if you look at his history experimenting now with the longer distance stuff, he still hasn't gotten it right. You know, he was 5th at JFK, 4th at Black Canyon, 7th at CCC, all solid results for anybody in the sport. But, you know, when you're operate with Eli Hemming standards, it's like he still hasn't had a real Eli Hemming result at 50 miles or above. So stepping back down, he's very much in his own wheelhouse here at short course.
100%.
And how sick would it be for him being the 2024 OCC champ to potentially get another medal like at that distance, right?
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely contend for a world championship status there.
Rad. Well, one other name I wanted to mention here is Katarina Hartmuth. We've just received word that she is unfortunately not going to be competing here this weekend. I'm not surprised. She's done Hard Rock and UTMB, finishing on the podium of both of those. So Hard Rock, UTMB, and long course.
Yeah.
Would have been a crazy triple. It sounds like her foot's not 100%. So
honestly, respect. Good to see her putting her long-term, front and center.
Yeah. Allison Baca was the only other name that came to mind for me. She was 10th at CCC. And she's doing the long trail, and she was 6th at the World Champs in the long trail in 2020.
Go Allison. Yeah. Also such a nice person. Yeah. Golden, Colorado representing.
Hell yeah. Do you want to talk any more about like the French team not being allowed to compete? We kind of covered that, but
I'm just curious to see how that translates. Like, I think the idea for their team is like they want their athletes to be prioritizing it and coming fresh, right? So it's like, hopefully they show out,
Yeah.
Otherwise it might, I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be a weird look.
Yeah. So I guess just to repeat it for the audience, the French team, which has been very successful here at these races, they're not allowed, the individuals are not allowed to race in the 45 days leading up to it, meaning none of them raced any of the UTMB races. All those other names we just mentioned did. So we will be revisiting this topic later in the week. So just sort of flagging it again. We will revisit how the double impacted these athletes. And looking back to UTMB, where again, the story was between Western States and UTMB doublers. Almost nobody who did well at Western States was able to double back and do well at any of the UTMB races.
It's true, but to also put a kind of double click it, that is tough for those professional level athletes to not get to participate in the UTMB races. So, I hope it's worthwhile for them. I hope the added rest and race specific preparation will translate to results.
Yeah. So we'll
right behind USA.
Yeah, exactly. To be continued on that. So anyway, that's your doublers here. Our number 4 storyline, UTMB to the World Championships. Moving along here, our number 3 storyline. This is going to be a fun one. Is also going to take us a couple of minutes. Stats corner. So Tom is going to pull up a few graphics here for us as we begin to tick through this. And again, just a reminder to our audience, you can see all this stuff for yourself. Fantasy.freetrail.com navigates to the stats tab, and then click analytics, and you'll get to see everything that we're going to walk through here. Tom, if you can pull up the top 25 women graphic here for the audience. What this is showing us here, Adam, is it's comparing the average UTMB index scores of the fields across distances for this year, 2025, versus the fields for 2023.
Yep.
And we don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but obviously the first thing that jumps out is just how noticeably better the fields are this year in terms of...
The number is moving to the right, It's bigger.
Exactly.
People are more fit. The level of competition is higher. One, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I was making the observation last night. It's why are their indexes lower than the men's? I don't know. It's weird that they're just kind of 100 points lower or so. Yeah. In this day and age, it's can we just normalize that?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. It's way too dumb to understand.
Maybe it's big brain stuff.
UTMB index works.
Yeah,
but I think they did make an announcement that they were moving towards normalizing it. But I could be wrong about that.
That would be awesome.
I feel like that was a couple of years ago now already. So anyway, that's a debate for another show.
Another time.
Point is that just looking at the women, 2025 versus 2023. I mean, we started our number 10 storyline was just the growing significance of the World Championships in general. This is the visualization of that. It is attracting better athletes year over year.
Yeah. And I know we're going to see a similar trend in the men, but the sport, the level of competition in the sport is just increasing. I wonder how much of that is playing into the scientific advancements, fueling, material science advancements, race specific preparation type of stuff, like
Totally.
athletes being full time, probably all of it.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it all week at UTMB, but
Yeah.
it's such an exciting and crazy time to be covering the sport in the way that we do.
Yeah.
Between all the things that you mentioned, the improvement of the equipment itself, making athletes faster, this nutrition revolution, cooling products and science like this radical airflow tea, and then, like how athletes are, cooling themselves in real time, both in training and in racing. Now, like coming off of UTMB, this idea of like having data science dictating your pacing strategy.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy, and it is really fun to watch. And yeah, this is also, a visualization of that is like as the athletes improve, their UTMB indexes improve.
Yes.
It's visualized here in the table that our audience is looking at. Tom, if you could pull up the next one, this is the men. Same basic point. We don't need to spend much time on this, but you can notice the dot is moving to the right again.
Yep.
The UTMB index scores on average are much higher here in 2025 compared to 2023. So a very, very fun and interesting just evidence of the way this is becoming more and more important in the calendar and how it is attracting better and better athletes. Any other comments on the men before we move to some of the other stats here?
Just to say it again, it's great to see it mirrored like between the men and women, that movement. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Tom, I think the next one you've got up is the team medal count from 2022. Okay, so we've got this up here now. So again, we're just going to spend a minute on this, and really what we're hoping to do is just like establish this as something we're going to be covering throughout the week, right? Like part of what we're going to talk about this week is not only individual performances, but team medals. And, this is just a historical view of some of the teams that have performed best over the last couple of world championships. We'll see Spain led the medal count in 2022, followed by the US and Italy. Tom, you can move to the next one, team medal count 2023, where we see France taking the team medal count victory, followed by Kenya and Italy. And then, we'll see, if we see similar patterns here in 2025. And then the next two graphics that we'll use as we wind down Stats Corner. Tom, if you can pull up individual medal count for 2022. So this is where we see Uganda. Okay.
Yeah.
So like pretty crazy, right? Uganda led the medal count in Thailand the year that you were competing in 2022 with 4 individual medals, 2 of which were golds, followed by the USA, who had 3 medals with 2 golds, and then Kenya, who had 3 medals with 1 gold and 2 silvers.
Yeah. And if you combine like Uganda and Kenya, it's just like the Africa show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then Tom, if you could just pull up our 6th and final graphic here. This is the medal count from 2023. So Kenya led with 5 total medals, 1 gold, 2 silvers, 2 bronze. And then France with 4 total medals, but with 3 golds and 1 bronze. And then USA, Uganda, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, each with a combined total of 2 medals across various colors. So again, just flagging this just for historical context. This is the first time we've implemented this analytics feature. And so I think it's fun to just backdate it a little bit so that people can get a sense of, some of the historical context leading into this year's racing.
No doubt. I wonder if it will change at all this year in 2025, but you see it in the individual medal count, but this the sport is becoming more globalized, and you see like much smaller countries like Slovakia or like Czech Republic, Romania, like on the individual medal count. It'll be interesting to see if like we see more at the individual level, or even some of those smaller nations like breaking into the team medal count.
And you and I were talking about this yesterday, and we'll go deeper on it in a future show. But like, for example, if you look at the analytics feature on our website, on the women's long trail team by nationality, Iceland is the 3rd strongest.
Don't sleep on them,
by UTMB index score. It's really, really cool. So again, you can go see this for yourself at freetrail.com. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but 1,700 total athletes representing 80 countries this week. It's crazy, right?
Wow.
And everybody had to earn their spot here.
Oh,
right?
100%.
And we haven't talked about that at all, but like this is a professional race, right?
Yes.
Like there's not going to be like a golden hour like there is at a lot of the trail races. And obviously we all love golden hour, but this is like a pros race and a pros race only. And everybody earned their spot here. Everybody's competing both for individual glory and for national pride.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I remember that from when I raced. It's different than any other race you get to do. It's like, dude, everyone you're racing here is so good.
Yeah.
So it just changes the pack dynamics or, like it's different. There's no random ballers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot harder to come out of nowhere here at the World Championships, although I'm sure there'll be a couple of surprises as there
Here's hoping.
always are. So anyway, Stats Corner, go check out Freetrail Analytics on our website. Number 2 storyline, Katie Shide makes her world champ debut. Get us started on Katie.
Oh, I mean, well, first of all, shout out Maine, Katie Shide representing Gardner, Maine. Dude, she's had a crazy couple years, crazy season, getting the chance to do something here that would take her into an even higher echelon, right? Yeah. Like she is already one of a couple that has won states, Hard Rock, Grand Raid, right? But
and
UTMB, but no one else has also won a world championship.
No,
it's like, that would be crazy. Let's see it happen, you know?
So obviously Katie Shide, one of the all-time greats in the sport already. And she's still 33, 34. Like she's got a bunch of years left ahead of her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, for her, it's like these athletes like Killian and Courtney and Jim, you probably need big carrots to get motivated. And I could see her getting really motivated for this World Champs.
Yes.
In fact, after Hard Rock, I know she did debate doing UTMB also and posted something to the effect of, I've decided not to do UTMB and just focus on the World Championship. So
great choice.
Yeah, really great choice. And I mean, we mentioned this earlier, but she was second at Sears and all.
That's so crazy.
I think it was 3 weeks after winning and setting a course record at Hard Rock.
I don't even think you can put into words how crazy that is.
Honestly.
Yeah. Just to be able to do that, even if you're fresh.
Yeah.
But to do it 3 weeks after Hard Rock is just I know everyone Boulder Boys, everyone I talked to was just I don't even understand.
Yeah. So for the audience, Hard Rock, I think for her was just under 26 hours, I want to say.
Yeah.
Course record victory. Sears and all, I want to say, was just under 3 hours for her. So 22-hour time difference in terms of the race duration.
Yeah.
And she's, competing with the best in the world.
Yeah.
In both disciplines. It's crazy.
She's a special athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The analog would be like Patrick Kipeno also being able to win Hard Rock.
Yeah. Seriously.
You could see it eventually, but I think there would be a bit of a learning curve, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It's
could
just.
You imagine Patrick with the poles out there in the San
or the big the big pack. I don't know. Yeah. That'll be really interesting and exciting to get to see her compete.
Yeah. So this season, Katie is clearly the front runner for Trail Runner of the Year. At this point, I would say she won Madeira Island Ultra Trail and again win in course record at Hard Rock, adding a gold medal or a medal of any color here at the World Champs would just round out another amazing season from Katie Shide, the great American, though, who lives in France. Anything else you want to say about her before we get to our concluding storyline here?
I don't think so. I'm rooting for her.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, our number 1 storyline here, and I can't wait to talk about this. This is so fun. Number 1 storyline here this weekend, the Walmsley Poopy rematch from 2019, okay? So just to set it up before I toss it to you, we've got a previous world champion and one of the greats of all time, certainly one of the best of the last decade, competing against friend and Hoka teammate, Francesco Poopy, who's maybe the hottest athlete in the sport right now.
Whoa.
Both coming off wins at
Stoking
OCC
the fire.
and CCC, respectively.
Yep.
Poopy versus Walmsley. What do you got?
I mean, it's hard to pick a dog in that fight. You know, like they're both such competitors. Like when the gun goes off, that both those guys are just killers. Yeah. Poopy's had an amazing season. Like, I don't know. Like, and I know how much focus he puts and like value he places on world championship competition. So, you know, he's bringing like his A game. Yeah. Watching the I Run Far interview from Jim, like, to be honest, he was kind of like hemming and hawing a little bit, you know, like, I don't know. Like,
tell me about it, because I haven't watched it yet.
Well, you never count Jim out, but he's kind of just like, you know, like, I don't know, like, we'll see if the pop comes back into the legs, like, you know, like he just raced, you know, and I know Fran did too, but like, I don't know, like it'll be interesting because like Fran's coming from a bigger effort, but I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. And Francesco has said also that this course, he doesn't view it as like being something that really suits his own skill set. And then like we were just talking with Caleb, and Caleb made the statement, you know, like whatever, like Jim is actually a really good, like technical mountain runner, right? Like we think of Jim's stride, like him chasing down Christian Minogio looking like, you know, he's
a gazelle.
Looking like a gazelle, but he actually is very good in complicated terrain like this. But I understand that in the I Run Far interview, he made a comment about the course too. What did he say?
He was just like, it's like really burly, like, you know, it's a proper mountain course. But to Caleb's point, like Jim is good in the mountains. And I think in that dimension, like I'd probably pick him over Fran, but Fran, like, you know, is such a talented runner, such a competitive racer. Like it's hard to choose. I guess also like Jim coming off of just an OCC, Fran coming off a CCC. It's like, I also probably pick Jim on that, you know, like just less taxed. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting race to watch.
All right. So, but the reason we added this as the rematch from 2019 is because there's a good story here. So again, Jim, world champion in 2019, the guy who finished behind him in second place for a silver medal, Italy's Francesco Poopy. Francesco was only 50 seconds behind in that race. And I've talked to both of them about that event, and it seems like a fun memory for both of them. Jim being like, I just couldn't get him off my tail. Like at that point, you know, they were both earlier in their careers, but I think Francesco, like a little bit more obscure certainly than he is today. Not as much of a household name. I'm not even sure if Jim really knew who he was at the time. Yeah. And Francesco and Jim, you know, really battling it out there. Francesco making the statement really like, you know, trying to break him, trying to get around him, never could. Yeah. Eventually Jim got a microscopic separation, but they competed all the way to the line here. That's why I think this is fun as a storyline, because it is a bit of a rematch.
It's from super fun. Ago. And they're Hoka teammates now. That's interesting. Yeah. One thing though, that I think is different, and this is no disrespect meant to 2019, but like, I don't think it's going to be the Fran and Jim like battle. It's like Caleb, Adam. There's going to be all these other dudes that are right there, in the pack. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely. Neither is guaranteed victory. In fact, there will be several men, including those you just mentioned, who will be giving them everything. So you just mentioned both have had really solid seasons. Both are in Trail Runner of the Year contention here. Walmsley won at Chianti, we'll remember, against Killian and Vincent in March, and then just won OCC in spectacular fashion. Poopy this year, 5 victories from a marathon to 100K. The 2 best 100Ks of the year, arguably, or at least in my opinion, at Canyons and then at CCC. So I made the comment to Poopy at UTMB in his Champions interview. I was like, dude, you found your distance. Like, this is your zone.
Yeah.
And so just run 200Ks. Smashed a course record at Canyons, and then won CCC in the second fastest time ever. So it's like,
yeah, but who knows? He hasn't run 100 yet. 100 miles.
Yeah. Well, but this is only 80K.
No, I know, but maybe 100 miles will be his distance. Who knows?
Well,
you know,
he took his golden ticket to Western States.
I know.
That we will see.
Popcorn ready.
The other thing I just wanted to mention that I've been thinking about since UTMB that I never really brought into a show is just the importance of the clutch gene.
Oh yeah.
Jim's performance at OCC, clutch gene.
Definitely.
Clutch gene. You know, like getting past with 5 miles to go or whatever, and not like just, you know, sort of like giving up and being okay with a solid second place at OCC, but to absolutely give it everything to It's just like, MJ at buzzer beater type performance, I feel like.
Yeah, Jim has always struck me as very calculating. Like I obviously wasn't in his head during the race, but I feel like he was just calculating how he was going to catch Christian. And like, I don't for a second think he like considered giving up. He's like just steadfast resolve. Like, yeah, that desire to win is like definitely in his DNA. Same with Fran. Yeah.
So I haven't watched his I Run Far interview yet, but it's up now, so people can go watch that. But Aid Station Fireball, Liam Tryon texted me this morning about that Jim had made a comment in that interview also that he was thinking about doing one more race this season.
Oh.
I mean, I've been behind the scenes trying to pressure him into doing Diagonal Day Foo because he still needs the career Grand Slam. He's got Western States and UTMB, the two hardest ones to get. I must have missed
that little
He's got to go
Easter
get
egg.
Diagonal Day Foo.
Agree.
So
that'd be awesome.
With a Chianti OCC World Champs, Diagonal Day Foo, that's a season right there. So, Jim, do it for our entertainment, please.
Please.
Anything else you want to add to the rematch here, 2019? Obviously, we're going to go a lot deeper. We're going to do like real previews for every race. This is just the general storylines.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I had two just quick honorable mentions. One, the courses are freaking hard.
Dude.
The short trail race, 28 miles with 12,000 feet of climbing. Your boy Michelino Sanseri said it's runnable, quote unquote. So TBD. But, Caleb and Jim have both said long trail course is like legit gnarly.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's that short course that I think has a little bit more runnable terrain. The long course sounds gnarly.
Okay, but so short course again, 28 miles, 12,000 feet of climbing.
Yeah,
that sounds gnarly.
It sounds gnarly.
Long course, 50 miles, 18,000 feet of climbing. That's as much as Western States in half the distance.
Crazy.
It's almost as much as CCC in 12 fewer miles.
And the type of terrain is just totally different. Way more rugged.
What Caleb said is that, every time you have a chance to just get on like a smooth, intuitive, runnable trail, instead they like march you across the Alpine tundra up to a ridge line and then just a complex and
borderline off trail.
Complicated, engaging course. It's going to be very interesting to see who that favors, and we'll talk about that later in the week. My other honorable mention, people doing multiple distances. We just had Anna Gibson in studio who's doing vertical and classic, Cam Smith doing vertical and classic, Scout Adkin, Team GB, vertical classic, Remy LaRue for Canada, same thing. And then Jade Bellsberg for Canada is doing the vertical and the short trail.
Interesting.
So the only one that's not doing short and classic, vertical and classic. She's doing vertical and short.
Wow. That'll be cool to see.
And she's had a great season too.
Totally.
All right. I think that's our top 10 storylines. Any closing comments from you there, Mr. Peterman? Mr. Mary?
Thank you very much.
Adam, excuse me?
No, dude. Buckle up. It's going to be an exciting week. Stay tuned. We'll be trying to post up, at least I'll be trying to post up some stories and stuff from the course so people can get a sense for how crazy this is. And the mountains here are crazy. Again, just a shout out to the race organization to pick a destination like this instead of like the French Alps or like whatever. It's like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon we're going to host the World Championships in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Hey, honestly,
I'm just manifesting that into existence.
You never know, man. You never know.
Can't wait. All right, buddy. We're off to a good start here. To our audience here, before we go, make sure you subscribe to the channel, please. That would be incredibly helpful. While you're at the channel, check out the interviews that we did with Caleb Olson and Anna Gibson. We're also going to be posting a cool little feature on all of Caleb Olson's gear, including a little bit more of a deep dive on that Radical Airflow t-shirt. So check it out on Freetrail YouTube channel. Go play fantasy. Again, pick 10 deep across all 4 distances to get some great prize packages. And don't forget to pick the country that you're predicting to win in those events. Also a bit of a new feature here. Tomorrow, again, we're going to be back in studio talking about the opening ceremony. We'll be previewing the uphill race. Check out All Conditions Gear, allconditionsgear.com, Radical Airflow. You got that Ultrafly 2. Go grab some Sagama shoes, et cetera, et cetera. We really appreciate their support. And finally, a big thank you to the team behind the scenes. Tom Buchanan Harmonies cousin here, working with the Freetrail squad for the first time this week. Thank you, Tom. Ryan Thrower behind the scenes. Gracie Hins, who's also going to be helping us out with some great photos. And then the team back at home, Harmony Bowman, and of course, Travis Longcar, who are both going to be helping us pull all of this together here throughout race week. The show goes on tomorrow. Thanks everybody for joining us. For Adam Mary, I'm Debo. Peace out.
Peace.